darkness, choices, and an evil teacup ride. Welcome to the world of Deltarune. In this video, we'll dive into current chapters, chapter 1 through 4 of the entire game. At first glance, you might think, oh, Deltarune is just like Undertale. Well, the art style is nearly identical, the battle system has the same bullet dodging mechanics, and the characters, you'll recognize almost all of them. But then you realize, this isn't a sequel, nor a prequel, it's something else entirely. Let's journey through each chapter, uncovering the twist, the characters, and the deeper themes hidden in the dark worlds. Again, this game was made by Toby, and I recommend playing the game before watching, but it's up to you. I won't be diving into much details onto the chapters so that you, the viewer, will explore the game itself, so expect spoilers ahead. This chapter starts off with a simple errand. Chris, you, the character, is sent to the supply closet to get shocked. Susie, the school bully, gets dragged along after eating some in front of you. Upon entering, the two fall into a dark void beneath the closet and wake up in an entire different world. That is, the dark world, where strange monsters and ruins await. There, you meet Ralsei, a mysterious prince who claims Chris and Susie are the heroes of a legend. The trio sets out to close the dark fountain to prevent a cataclysm called the Roaring. You then encounter Lancer, a mischievous child of the king, who you eventually befriend. Through puzzles and battles, you reach Lancer's father, the king of the dark world. After defeating the king, you and Susie go seal the dark fountain, but the chapter doesn't end there. At the middle of the night, Chris wakes up without a word. It immediately tears their soul from their body and lifts a knife, and the chapter ends. Now on to chapter 2, A Cyber's World. The next day, Chris and Susie head to the library for a group project. Inside the computer lab, another dark fountain has opened, this time leading them to a neon-drenched, computer-themed world. In the cyber world, you meet Queen, a chaotic, power-hungry AI, and plans to capture Noelle and make her the willing peon to roam alongside with. Chris, Susie, and Ralsei team up again, but later on split up. Later on, you get paired with Noelle, setting up the chapter's most emotionally layered storyline. But then there's the Snowgrave route, a route you could take. If you, the player, push Noelle, trick her, manipulate her, she begins using the spell Ice Shock that terrifies her. You can continue commanding her to freeze people, even as she begs you to stop. Eventually, you face Birdly, and you force her to cast Snowgrave. Regardless of the route, one character stands out, Spamton. Initially a silly minibus speaking in broken sales speak like a pop-out ad. He later transforms into Spamton Neo, a corrupted, desperate figure who makes a deal with Chris to gain power. After either the normal route or the Snowgrave route, the group reunites and confronts Queen in her mansion. In a twist, Queen turns out not to be evil, just misguided, and the gang seals the fountain. At the end of the chapter, Susie and Toriel is asleep. Then Chris wakes up at the middle of the night again, removing their soul, silently walking to the living room. There, Chris uses a knife to slash the middle of the living room, creating a new fountain. Then we have chapter 3, Late Night. Right where we left off, chapter 3 begins in Toriel's house, or the living room. The new dark world emerges from the living room TV. Upon exploring while chatting about the upcoming festival, you meet one of the most wackiest character ever.
It's now time for another feature recommendation. Feature.
Coming straight from your house.
Coming straight from your house. He's the one. The king of. Oh, he's groovy and never
Tenna, a sentient TV darkner who invites the Lightners to play on his game show, who later on traps them just because he wants eyes on the screen, and like others before him, he's been manipulated by the Roaring Knight. Then the gang defeats Tenna at the end. The gang tells Tenna that they will find him a new owner. Afterwards, Tenna gives them Toriel back, but then the Knight appears and a battle breaks out. After quote-unquote beating him, Undyne crashes in to save them but gets kidnapped anyway by the Knight. They flee back to the light world only to discover that another fountain has been created, hidden in the mysterious locked bunker. Now we're at chapter 4, one of the best chapters in my opinion. It opens with Chris and Susie seeking answers in the hometown, investigating rumors and signs as they find a new dark world located inside the old church. They think Toriel is inside and they have to save her once again. In this chapter, we get deeper lore and more about the prophecy. You later on meet the Hammer of Justice himself, Gerson, which guides you throughout the chapter, being somewhat like Susie's mentor or even a teacher. The group meets the Knight once again and creates a fountain, or the Titan. They defeat it after fighting to the end with the help of the Hammer of Justice himself, Gerson. But after the fight, when Susie goes to check on Gerson, she learns the truth. Ralsei runs in a panic and Susie smashes part of the tablet in frustration of what she saw in the prophecy. And lastly, we seal the fountain. They return back to the light world and they arrive at the house only to find out Toriel was home with the bonehead comedian himself, Sans. Susie goes home and Chris, well, he suffers from whatever is happening between Sans and Toriel. Then at night, Chris receives a phone call, a voice that says, "Don't forget your promise." And the chapter ends, leaving us in a cliffhanger. So far, Deltarune has taken us from chalk fetching to chaotic adventures. 4 chapters in, we've seen Chris and their friends dive into strange, shifting dark worlds, form bonds, face twisted enemies, and uncover hints of something far bigger lurking beneath it all. Anyways, go play the game yourself for the full experience. Support Toby Fox as he makes awesome games like this, and stay tuned